In this road to glory, my name is Doug Nelson, a 5'9" wide receiver who just transferred to the Shawnee Wolves, an Oklahoma high school powerhouse. Despite only being 5'9", I've got hands and I've got heart, and some people have said that if I work hard enough, I could be the best Oklahoma high school receiver since Wes Welker. But in order to make that happen, I'd have to build a relationship with my new quarterback, Steve Merca, who to start off our week 1 game against UConn had no interest in even looking in my direction. But finally on third down, he was able to hit me on a comeback route along the sideline, and I had my first catch of the season. Later in the drive, I was able to beat the press coverage, and Steve hit me over the middle to get our team inside the 5-yard line, and on the very next play, our tight end Michael Weisbecker hauled in the 4-yard touchdown for our team's first points of the year. On the next drive, I showed off my hands by hauling in this back shoulder laser, and later in the drive, I sliced right between the zones to bring in my first touchdown. This game turned into a blowout pretty quick, with Steve hitting me for another touchdown in the back corner of the end zone, and it seemed like we were completely in sync. Everything was going perfect until I called for the ball on an out route and caused Steve to throw his first interception of the season. Steve was not happy, and despite my teammates congratulating me on earning player of the game honors, I knew that I had to earn Steve's trust if we were going to win a state championship together. Our week 2 game against Holdenville could not have gotten off to a worse start when on our first drive, I pulled up short on this drag route and caused Steve Merca to throw another interception. No matter what we tried, we couldn't get on the same page, and after Steve and I couldn't even connect on a simple out route on 4th down, we found ourselves down 14-0, and I could feel my teammates starting to wonder if I should even be on the field. Desperately needing to win over my teammates and inject new life into the team, on this punt return, I was able to put on a nasty cut to reverse field, and despite only being 5'9", I kept my legs turning and just barely outran the defenders to finally get our team on the scoreboard. I was so pumped up for my team that I went God mode, pancaking cornerbacks on touchdown runs, beating zones over the top for touchdowns, and even channeling my inner Randy Moss to go up and make this ridiculous catch over the defender. I was so happy that I had finally earned my teammates' trust, and the cherry on top was that I got my very first scholarship offer from nearby Tulsa, but I also felt like I had so much more potential. In our week 3 game against winless Paul Valley High School, it felt like my relationship with Steve Merca took a major step backwards after we failed to connect on the first drive, and he threw yet another interception trying to force me the ball. But we talked things over on the sideline, and on the next drive, he hit me perfectly in stride on back-to-back plays for my first touchdown of the game. Wanting to solidify his trust once and for all, on the next drive, I made one of the best plays of the entire season, going up for the ball over the safety and then running through an arm tackle to take it all the way for a touchdown. At this point, our team was dialed in, and after another 5-touchdown day, I had worked my way up to being a 3-star recruit, and more Division I offers started rolling in. On the road against Elk City in week 4, I heard a rumor before the game that a college scout from the University of Oklahoma had come to watch me play to see if I was worthy of playing in the Big 12. I wasted no time in showing him what I was capable of, and on the first drive, I torched the defense on a streak, and Steve Merca hit me perfectly in stride so I could take it all the way for the touchdown. On the next drive, I channeled my inner Wes Welker and sliced right over the middle for another touchdown to put our team up 14-0 in the first quarter. Knowing a scout was there watching in person had me playing the best football of my life. My burst off the line was faster, my routes were crisper, and I was asserting my dominance for the entire game. It was another solid performance, and it earned me my biggest scholarship offer so far from the number 12 ranked Oklahoma State. After spending that week feeling on top of the world, I wasn't very focused in the first half of our week 5 game against Okmulgee. I ran the wrong route on our first drive, which caused Steve Merca to throw an interception, and then on the second drive, I called for the ball late, which led to another pick. Late in the first half, I'll admit I got scared of getting hit on this ball over the middle, and on the next play, Steve Merca threw a really bad ball into traffic for his 3rd interception of the half. Fortunately, my teammates stepped up to finally get us on the scoreboard before halftime, but this entire half was the wake-up call I needed to remind me that no matter how many scholarship offers I got, I had to stay humble and play hard for my teammates every single week. In the second half, I got my mind back on track, bodying out the defender on this perfect back shoulder throw from Steve Merca and taking it all the way for a monster touchdown. Despite my poor first half, my stellar second half meant that I was now up to a 4-star recruit and got scholarship offers from Oklahoma and Texas, some of the biggest programs in all of college football. In our week 6 game against Durant, our offense exploded right out of the gate with Steve Merca hitting me on this hole shot against Durant's cover 2 defense, and just a couple plays later, I was able to work hard to find the open space and bring in the touchdown. In practice this week, Coach had worked with me on being more physical on my routes, and his coaching paid off when I was able to fight through the tough press coverage and burst into the open space up the middle, where I hauled in my second touchdown of the game. This was our team's most complete game of the season, and everyone could tell that me and Steve Murka were maybe the best quarterback wide receiver duo in the entire state, as he kept delivering one perfectly placed ball after another. My 313 yards and 5 touchdowns made it the best performance of my high school career, and to my surprise, I finished the game as a 5-star recruit. Our Week 7 game was against winless Claremore. On the first drive, we picked up right where we left off last week, with Steve Murka hitting me on a gorgeous fade down the sideline and then giving me the chance to show off with a spectacular diving touchdown catch over the middle. We could do basically whatever we wanted on offense, and I was super happy to see my teammate Gio Saria get his first touchdown catch of the year, and then on the next drive, I show off my laser-like focus as I come down with this wild catch off a tipped ball. Now, we were up by so much that Coach didn't let us pass the ball in the fourth quarter, so I spent my time pancaking the smaller defenders because we don't take any plays off. Despite my 2 drops in this game, it was still a solid performance overall, and I secured another scholarship offer, this time from Washington State. With just 2 weeks left until playoffs and our game against Frederick High School, we all decided as a team that we wanted to help our running back Alex Howell, who had willingly accepted his role in our pass-heavy offense, score as many touchdowns as possible. The first drive went to perfection as I helped move the ball down the field and get it into the red zone, where we let Alex finish the job and get his first touchdown of the game. It was a similar story on the second drive. Our priority was to feed Alex, and that's exactly what we did as he punched in his second score of the game. By the time the clock hit 0, he had racked up not 3, not 4, but 5 rushing touchdowns, and obviously he had earned his player of the game honors. While I didn't score any touchdowns, I was super happy for Alex, and our team morale was at an all-time high. Now, in our final week of the regular season, it was senior night here at Shawnee High School, and the team was unstoppable. Alex Howell was running in more touchdowns, Steve Murka was dropping dimes left and right, and I was making defenders look silly as I broke a tackle and took it myself for a touchdown. Everyone on our team was literally unguardable, and it pretty quickly turned into a competition to see who could make the most spectacular play. But after I got laid out on this catch over the middle, Coach put an end to that before any of us could get hurt. That brought our regular season to an end, and along with it came a scholarship offer from Stanford, but all I could focus on right now was the high school state playoffs. In the first round of the playoffs, we faced Lone Grove High School, who must have had a cupcake schedule this year because they had no business being 8-1. I immediately showed everyone that I meant business because on the first drive, I caught a pass in open space and then threw the safety off me and took it all the way for the game's first score. Our team was playing nearly perfect football as Steve Murka kept putting the ball in the perfect spot and I kept finding open space for him to throw to. Late in the second quarter, I caught my second touchdown to make it a 24-0 game, and the route was on. In the second half, I went back to pancaking defensive backs to help Alex Howell get some playoff touchdowns. And following the game, after yet another stellar performance, I got a scholarship offer from the number 2 team in the country, Ohio State. In the state quarterfinals, we had a rematch against Yukon High School, and I got the team hyped up early. First by taking the opening kickoff all the way to the 50-yard line, and then on my first catch of the game, when it took not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 defenders to bring me down. We were dialed in after that, and Steve Murka wasted no time hitting me over the middle to give us a 7-0 lead. Now, Steve got a little too amped up because on our next drive, he threw a really bad interception, but after calming him down on the sideline, we got back to work, hitting completion after completion, and he was able to hit me on an in route for my second touchdown of the first quarter. Now, UConn didn't go down without a fight, and in the third quarter, with only a 13-point lead, we needed one more score to really take control of the game, and that's when Steve Murka threw an absolute laser to me along the sideline, and then Alex Howell punched it in at the goal line. We kept pushing for more, and on this catch over the middle, I nearly got into the end zone, but a dirty horse collar tackle kept me out, and I was a little shaken up after that play, so Coach took me out, and I watched from the sidelines as Steve Murka ran the ball in himself to truly put the game away. After my 4 touchdown performance, I got a scholarship offer from the number 11 ranked Oregon Ducks, and with all these offers piling up, I had to make sure I didn't let myself get too distracted while we were just 2 wins away from winning a state title. Now, in the state semifinals, I'm not quite sure if we were in Oklahoma anymore, given the 12-hour bus ride and the mountainous desert around us, but all that mattered was coming away with a win and making it to the state championship. Our team got off to a disastrous start when on just the second play of the game, Steve Merca threw a pick 6 to give Holdenville a 7-0 lead. We could tell that Steve was rattled because he started trying to force me the ball even though I wasn't open, and it led to another interception on our second drive. Just like when we played the other Holdenville High School way back in week 2, I needed to make a play on special teams to inject new life into this team, and that's exactly what I did by returning this punt all the way to Holdenville's 38-yard line, and just a few plays later, Steve Merca hit me over the middle to tie the game at 7. Steve was back in the zone, and with our team back on track, on our next drive, Steve hit me on a beautiful ball, which I took all the way for a 40-yard touchdown. The game ended up being a blowout, and as we piled on points in that cool nighttime desert air, our whole team knew that we were just 1 win away from glory. In the state championship game, which took place in the Oklahoma Sooners Stadium, this was my chance to cement my legacy as one of the greatest wide receivers in Oklahoma State history. With tens of thousands of people watching us take on the undefeated Durant High School, I stepped up big on the first drive when Steve Merca hit me on a perfect slant, and then I plowed right over the safety to take it all the way to the end zone. Alex Howell punched in a rushing touchdown on the next drive, and with that, the floodgates were opened. If there was any doubt about who the best team in Oklahoma was coming into this game, those doubts were put to rest as we dominated Durant by a score of 56-7 to take home the state title. I celebrated with my teammates and reminisced on the incredible season we'd had together, but that night when I got a scholarship offer from the number 4 ranked Clemson Tigers, I realized it was time to pick a school and decide the program that I would call home as I continue on my road to glory.